Group 1.
So, a pleasant day to each and everyone. So, let me ask you this question this day. How do you take care of yourself? Specifically, how do you manage yourself when it comes to your learning in school? So, growing up, we were taught on really how to take care of ourselves, but mostly it was physical. Like eat your vegetables, drink your water, take a bath every day, wear clean clothes. But as we grow up, we learn that these are just one of the things that will really help you take care of yourselves. And there are many other things that you also need to learn and consider. And one of that really is going to school, because education is one of the key to success. As they say, there are many students that are really left behind when it comes to learning, because there are many factors that may affect their progress in it. And today, our reporters will be discussing different techniques in order to really help you and really guide you. So, I hope that you stay tuned, you listen, and of course, by next time you tried this type of techniques and see if they work for you.
So our lesson for today is managing the self. In this lesson, there are 3 intended learning outcomes. First is understanding the theoretical underpinnings for how to manage and care for different aspects of the self. Second, acquire and hone new skills and learnings for better managing of oneself and behaviors. Third is apply these new skills to oneself and functioning a better life. So in this lesson, there are 3 key components into managing the self. First is learning to be a better student. Second, goal setting and happiness. Third is managing the stress.
Study techniques. Many students are being left behind by an educational system that some people believe is in crisis. Improving educational outcomes will require efforts and many funds, but there are solutions involved in helping students to better regulate their learning through the use of effective learning techniques. Fortunately, cognitive and educational psychologists have been developing and evaluating easy-to-use learning techniques that could help students achieve their learning goals. There are 10 techniques in study.
The first technique is the elaborative interrogation, generating an explanation for why an explicitly stated fact or concept is true. Anyone who has spent time around young children knows that one of their most frequent utterances in is why. Perhaps coming in a close second behind is no. Humans are inquisitive creatures by nature, attuned to seeking explanation for states, actions, and events in the world around us. Fortunately, a sizable body of evidence suggests that the power of explanatory questioning can be harnessed to promote learning.
Elaborative interrogation. The strategy is one that focuses on enhancing memory. It brings out facts that are learned by encouraging students to generate why questions after reading the material. Once the question has been generated, students should try to derive possible answers to define the cause and effect relation between subject and the predicate. In this way, students are encouraged in process of active learning.
Self-explanation. Self-explanation is explaining how new information is related to known information or explaining steps taken during problem solving. Self-explanation may enhance learning by supporting the integration of new information with existing prior knowledge. The key continuum along which self-explanation prompts differ concerns the degree to which they are content-free versus content-specific. It also helps you gain a better understanding of the concepts you're trying to learn, as well as draw attention to any mistakes you make while solving the problem so you can fix them. Students may become more aware of their understanding by self-explaining and provide students with critical information about areas of confusion and or understanding. In some cases, coming up with explanations of to-be-learned concepts or ideas in your own words can be beneficial.
A summarization is a summing up of a larger work that gives the reader a comprehensive understanding. And to write a summary, a writer will gather the main ideas of an article, essay, television show, or film and condense the central ideas into a brief overview. It helps students learn to determine essential ideas and consolidate important details that support them. And it also enables students to focus on the keywords and phrases of an assigned text that are worth noting and remembering.
If you are a student like me, then you probably have a lot of material to read on a weekly basis. This wouldn't be that of a big deal if your assigned reading involved mindless material that you wouldn't be tested on. But here's the reality. You have a lot to read, and you have to remember what you read, because the test is coming. Let me introduce you to a game changer in the world of student success. Summarize what you read. Summarization is a great form of note-taking. If you aren't taking some form of notes when you read, you should really consider starting. And here's why. Taking notes is an automatic 20 to 25% retention boosting exercise. That's like going from C to an A. Additionally, according to a study conducted by Robert J. Marzano, summarizing strategies on average increase students' ability to understand content by 19%. Here are 3 great benefits of summarizing what you read. Benefit number 1. Summarizing ensures you are producing something. The key to any successful study session is producing something. You haven't really studied if you haven't produced notes, or a chart, or flashcards, or a timeline, anything like that. When you summarize what you read, you are actively engaging the material you are reading. Benefit number 2. Summarizing helps you find the main points and key details. Summarizing is like panning for gold. It helps you look for and find the main points and key details in every paragraph. Effective learning is all about identifying and understanding main points and key details. Your summary statements should look like gold. Main points, key details, and nothing else. And the last benefit of summarization, summarizing saves time during test review sessions. One of the biggest wastes of time when reviewing for tests is trying to skim back through all the chapters you read looking for something that you think you might be tested on. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It almost never happens. Summarizing cuts out this unnecessary step. Furthermore, you will remember more and learn more effectively when you put information into your own words, especially if the test's format is short answer or essay. You can say a whole lot more in your own words than you can in someone else's words. There are a ton of different strategies you can use for summarization. The important thing is that you start incorporating this highly effective skill into your study sessions. Your grades will thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Highlighting is a summary of the most significant or interesting part of something, such as a completed sporting event. Also, presented typically on a television broadcast. A very interesting, exciting, or important text. In addition, a method that highlights the text directly and then make notes from what you have highlighted. Note-taking, highlighting, underline, or annotate encourages you to think critically and formulate your own response to the text. In cosmetics, highlighter is a type of cosmetic product that reflects light, often used for contouring. Enhance your complexion and give skin a brighter, dewy glow, as well as making cheekbone look more prominent. Example of highlighting: by the use of yellow marker to mark off the specific lines in the script, text, or sentence. Also, to mention a specific positive word or sentence during a word reading.
Underlining. Underlining means to mark something such as a word with a line underneath, or to put emphasis. When underlining, you are selecting, organizing, and thinking about the importance of what you are reading. This can improve overall reading efficiency by facilitating a greater understanding of information the first time that it is encountered. The significance of underlining is to signal that a sentence or a word is important, and it draws attention to it and emphasizes its importance.
Keyword mnemonics uses keywords and mental images of text materials while reading or listening. Since we know that the language of the brain is images, in memorizing a word, we must see it in our imagination, and the more we see it, the better. The keyword mnemonics are used to facilitate learning in students, which the technique used are interactive images. The potential benefit of these keyword mnemonics have been extensively explored. This is one of the effective strategy that can help us easily memorize or to recall something. Like for example, to memorize better and recall the names of every planet in the solar system, teachers tend to show interactive images. This helps students to remember again the information by forming mental images in their minds. Learning and studying with the use of keyword mnemonics help us to remember something easily, since we see and form mental images in our brain that is connected to a piece of information.
Imagery for text is one of the techniques in study. Imagery for text is a kind of technique that forms images or pictures while reading or listening. And this kind of technique is from a mnemonic. When we say imagery, it is a language or descriptive language that used to appeal to one or more of the 5 senses of the readers. We already know that when we say 5 senses, it refers to the touch, smell, taste, sight, and sound. As what I have said earlier also, this type of technique creates pictures or images in readers' mind. That is the most common and most effective technique used in text to describe things that is accurate to the senses of what the writer is trying to say. The main reason why we need to use imagery for text as technique in studying because it helps us or it improves our comprehension by creating mental images while reading or while creating mental images while reading helps us to improve our comprehension. And investigations of imagery used for learning text materials have focused on single sentence and longer text materials. So most of the good readers construct their mental images by using prior knowledge and background experiences that is guided by a visualization. The students learn how to do this kind of technique.
Rereading. So rereading is an act of restudying text material again after an initial reading. Rereading helps students read with greater fluency. It allows them to give more attention to making sense of what they have read. So rereading is one of the techniques that students most frequently using during self-regulated study. One of the examples is that when we students are reading our modules, of course, we cannot deny that we always reread through for some reasons. Maybe because you wanted to comprehend the written text better to increase the amount of our understanding in the information within it. Or we are scanning for specific information that we have not noticed on our initial reading, especially when we are answering assignments or any activity. And also, when we are writing an essay, a story, or any written works, we also reread, or we really reread, maybe because we are checking our works and see if there's something wrong with its grammar, or the information, scenarios or ideas, the use of words and punctuations to ensure that you already corrected it. Rereading is great because it helps us edit our sentences to be more readable and understandable. So remember that rereading means reading again.
Practice testing or self-testing implies in gaining understanding on what have you learned in a topic, lesson, or a video. So in other words, students who have gained understanding in practice testing or self-testing have more advantages in self-learning and memorization skills rather than thinking out of the blue. So in conclusion, practice testing has more advantages and greatness to its part because people can actually give more time to themselves to prepare on what the exam or the contents inside has given. So all these problems that we share inside a book or a video will give us more issue that we have to overlook into it. So the practice testing will give us more guidance and to use it effectively to have a better understanding on the contents that we have read. That's all. Thank you.
Practice testing. Practice testing are used to distinguish testing that is completed as low-stake or no-stake practice, or learning activities outside the class, maybe in home, or in a library campus. Any form of practice testing that student would be able to engage in their own. Like for example, practice testing could involve practicing recall to target information using an actual or virtual flashcard. Practice testing is one of the best techniques for me when receiving my lesson. When I was high school, if there is a law quiz, I do practice testing in our house. I make flashcard and put some question and randomly picking them and answering the question I wrote.
Distributed practice. Implementing a schedule of practice that spreads out study activity over time. So this technique emphasizes the importance of study reviews and some study activity or topic to improve our understanding and said topic and to familiarize the content from it and to have a better learning from this said study material. So this technique shows that having a study review will help us to easily catch up the content of the topic and to familiarize or importantly comprehend the passage of the topic. So this technique also helps us to have a productive learning. Yes, and with discipline and time management, this will be effective in this kind of education setup during these times.
So now let's proceed in the interleaved practice. So studying at a one single skill or topic in one sitting is how we've been trained to learn our whole lives. At school, students are given a block of time for mathematics, science, and literature wherein they'll have just one concept or strategy that drilled into them. After this, they'll move on to their next class wherein they'll focus again to a one particular type type of problem or memorizing a set of rules before they'll move on to their next session or lesson. This method of learning is what the researchers call blocking or mass practice, and it might be the norm, but numerous studies indicate that spacing out our learning and borrowing type of materials that we learn in each session is more effective than just focusing on a one skill at a time. Of course, spacing your learning adequately might be easier than this had thought, especially when you have just mere studies and exams looming. This is where interleaving or interleave practice comes in, because mixing a different skills in a one single study session might be possible to cover a lot of grounds in a fairly short amount of time. Instance, a beginning pianist can learn or might learn scales and practice chord progressions and spend some time in improvising rather than devoting an entire session. While cramming a lot of information the night before an exam might help you pass, but there's a chance that you won't remember much what of you studied a few weeks or days down the line. Interleave practice is great for long-term retention. So now, when we say interleave practice or interleaving, it is a learning technique that involves mixing together different topics, different learnings, different lessons, or forms of practice in order to facilitate learning. Interleaving is sometimes referred to as a varied practice or mixed practice that is contrasted in a block practice, which involves studying a single topic or single skill or form of practice at a one time. Interleaving has been shown to facilitate people's learning and in a variety of domains, such as the traditional subjects within academic settings like the math and history, as well as when it comes to other fields such as music and sports. Interleaving or interleave practice indeed is a beneficial technique. It's worth in understanding it. Interleave practice, it's also about implementing a schedule of practice that mixes a different kinds of problems, or a schedule of practice that mixes different kinds of materials within a single study session. In addition, interleaving practice or interleave practice has been found to lead a different benefits on learning, such as the improved focus and identify mistakes, as well as the improved ability to focus in setting goals. Aside from that, interleave practice also offers a various benefits, such as the improved retention of new information, faster acquisition of skills, and improved mastery of existing activities, wherein it is a phenomenon that referred to as the interleaving effect. So overall, interleaving practice offers a various benefits when it comes to learning process. And these benefits of interleaving can make it a good learning technique that can be used in various situations, especially it is often simple to implement and generally doesn't require any resources. So aside from that, when we say interleaving practice or interleaving, it's about when you are learning two or more related topic or concept at a one time, rather than focusing exclusively in only one skill or concept at a time. This might be helpful to alternate between the two topics. So for example, you are going to learning or study the topic A and topic B. So rather than studying the topic A on one day and topic B on the second day, you can instead study the both topic A and B in the same day by incorporating the mixture of the two topics or by switching them back and forth. So that's what the interleave practice wants to deliver to us. It's about mixing a different kinds of topics, different kinds of skills at a one session study. So it might be very beneficial or have this very advantage to every one of us, especially to us as students, because we could multitask and we could save time, and as well as it can improve our critical thinking. So that's all about the interleave practice.